Jennifer Camp is my coaching mentee. We are, first of all, very good friends. She was actually my mentor when I first came to Creekland Middle School 3 years ago. I was not a first year teacher, but I was a new teacher to the building. So at our school, they assigned a mentor teacher to any new teacher in the building, just kind of get them integrated with the community and all the other members of our staff, which was really awesome because she has worked with all grade levels and she's been at Creekland for about 15 years. She has been teaching for 19. So her first 4 years were actually at a Title I school in Fulton County. So she has lots of experience. She is a veteran teacher. So there wasn't a ton that I feel like I could coach her on, but she has come to me multiple times in the past asking technology questions. She is not super familiar with the different technology that our district has to offer. She is very much a old school pencil paper textbook kind of teacher, which we always used to joke about, but she really has been trying to have more blended learning and integrate that technology into her classroom. So she came to me and we decided that we were just going to focus on that for her coaching. So her goal for this coaching session is to integrate more technology into her classroom activities. So we are going to talk specifically about Canvas integration. Canvas is our learning management platform. So it has so many cool tools that she doesn't even realize are there that she can use every single day that would make her life and probably her students' lives a lot more easy, which is really cool for her. So that's kind of what we're going to focus on. I am a little bit worried because usually when I talk to her about some technology stuff, she gets really nervous and anxious, and I'm worried that she's going to run into a problem and just kind of quit or not continue to try with the rest of her classes. Like, for example, if it happens in first period, she's going to just scratch it and then not do it for the rest of her class periods. So I'm hoping that instead she'll just like send me a little email or something, or even call down to my room and I can pop over and help her really quick instead of just kind of folding in and not using the technology that we talk about and that I coach her on. So that's my goal for myself and for her because I am a little anxious about that. But she doesn't really have a ton of experience with the technology. So that would be my biggest fear. But she is also super receptive. She heard all of the ideas that I had for her and was seemingly very eager to try them. And because we are friends outside of school as well, I know that she'll be very honest with me, which is also really cool because this is my first time coaching someone. So I think that her honesty will help me improve as a coach, but also it'll give us a more realistic picture of what works and what doesn't, and we can kind of move forward in our coaching from there. So that's something that I'm kind of looking forward to and that I'm excited about, instead of it being just another random teacher down the hall that I would be coaching. It's somebody that I am familiar with, so we can have that real raw dialogue on how it's going and how it's working. So that's kind of where we're at, and I'm excited to continue on coaching her for the next couple of weeks. So after my first coaching session with Jen, she seemed super receptive to the goal that we set. We did watch the video of her teaching and just kind of reflected on that. She was very hard on herself, which was something that I kind of expected. She is a veteran teacher. She was actually Teacher of the Year last year. So she is one to overthink and be overcritical on her own teaching abilities. And so we identified that something that she would like to do is be a little bit more new school and integrate some technology. So I think that for our first goal that we set, it was a really attainable goal, something that I felt would be a really good jumping off point for her. I know that she loves paper copies, and that's something that we had talked about. So I didn't want to overwhelm her with making something way too difficult or unachievable for a short-term goal. It's something that can be definitely built upon and something that we can progress through pretty easily. And I think that once she gets the hang of that, she'll feel a lot more confident as well to integrate newer things and try more things in her classroom as well. I do think that she's going to struggle just a little bit with the implementation. So I plan on meeting with her at least twice before she does it with her classroom. One, to go through it with her kind of as the teacher. And then we're probably going to meet once again outside of that so that she can do it in front of me before she does it in front of the kids. So that's kind of the plan right now, is a 2 different one-on-one coaching sessions with me, both away from students so that she can build up that confidence. And then, but one more specifically is just with me, kind of teaching her and showing her the steps. And then I will give her a checklist, and then she will do it with me or in front of just me, to kind of make sure she's super prepared before she does it in front of her kids. So this is my 3rd journal entry. This is after I have met with Jen twice after our first 2 meetings. So I have coached her twice now using the checklist. So our first coaching session is the one that I submitted for one of the coaching videos. The second one, I didn't end up videoing and incorporating it because we just didn't have time. So during our first coaching session with the checklist, so I went over the checklist with her, made it very black and white, like step by step, because she is someone that needs that, and she had mentioned that to me, is to make it as black and white, detailed as possible. So I was able to do that for her. And so this first coaching session, I was just focusing on teaching it to her. I led the instruction and showed her step by step on the board exactly what to do. I showed her the process. We went over the checklist, and then we just kind of had a little debrief of, how do we think this is going to go? Do you want to do this second session that we had talked about before implementing it with the kids, or do you want to do one more? And we did end up deciding to do one more little mini coaching session where, instead of me being the lead teacher and the coach teaching her how to do it, she actually showed me as if I were one of her students, and we kind of ran through that scenario. She did struggle a little bit with just the technology. We do have brand new Promethean boards, or they're smart boards now, excuse me. And so there are some technical difficulties with that, but I've experienced those as well. And I'm still trying to figure out those kinks and work out those problems, to help her with her coaching. So I actually have a meeting with our technology specialist so that I can better be a better coach for Jen. I realize that there are some things that I still need to learn in order to make me a better coach for her, because there were things that I wasn't able to help her with when it comes to like our smartboard technology. And that's something that we figured out in our second little mini coaching session before she implemented it with her students. So I took the time to reach out to some of my technology people that are from the county and made an appointment with them so he could kind of walk with me through that process of like having to fix those kinks and those fluctuations of like, oh, it's working sometimes and then it's not working and something's going on. So then I was able to relay those messages to her and we were able to get it figured out. I still do anticipate her struggling a little bit, just because this is a new technology for her. She is not super comfortable with doing things digitally. Like I said in my first journal, she is so used to using paper copies for everything. I've never known somebody to use as much paper as she does. So I do anticipate her struggling a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if she actually still makes paper copies as a backup, because that is the kind of teacher she is, and that's awesome. I've used enough technology in the past where I have forgotten to make those extra paper copies as a backup, and then I'm kind of left in the dark. So I was able to learn from her in that way a little bit as well. But that is the plan for now. After we have met these 2 times, she's planning on incorporating it and using it in her classroom, I believe in the next day or two. So I will be getting someone to cover my class so that I can go and observe her and watch and see how it goes. I won't be able to film like the turn it in process because I'm not going to be able to sit and just watch her the entire class period, but I will be there for the beginning part when she's giving instruction, which is probably the main thing that she's going to struggle with, kind of backing up to the first video or the first journal and the first coaching video. She mentioned that she struggles with like being too long-winded. So I'm hoping that that's something that she can cut down on as well, because we talked briefly about that in one of our coaching sessions. So I'm excited to see how it goes with her implementation. I know she's a little bit nervous, so you might be able to tell that in the observation video, but we will see how it goes. So Jen and I wrapped up our final coaching session. Kind of to update and backtrack, I was able to go into her classroom and watch her implement the Canvas integration tool of annotating, student annotations, and it went so well. I was so proud. The kids seemed relatively engaged, which is awesome because that was part of her goal, was the increased engagement with the integration of some new technology. So that was really fun to see, especially because it was her co-taught class, and those classes tend to be a little more difficult when it comes to technology, but they all picked it up so quickly, and I think a huge part of that is how thorough she was with her directions. I know she kind of commented in our our last coaching session that she didn't think that she did well with the instructions and that she went overboard again. But to be honest, sometimes it's necessary. So I told her that she didn't need to be so hard on herself, that she did a great job, and the kids really seemed to pick it up very quickly, which is a huge win for her. I think she was definitely able to meet her goal. I think by incorporating this technology and being more open to doing things like this, she's going to increase the overall loading level for her classroom. So I think this assignment without the technology integration was probably very close to a level 1 Lodi or a level 2 at the most, because it was with normal highlighters and pencil paper and a packet and so many copies. But by integrating this technology, which is something that she hasn't done before and that the kids really haven't seen and done before, she was able to increase that overall Lodi level. And now like grade levels above us will be able to use it too, and the kids will have that prior knowledge they can fall back on. Their science classes can do that with the annotations that they do, because that's an interdisciplinary thing that we have been able to incorporate this year. So this will only help increase that overall Lodi level, not just for our classes, but for the students' other classes where they might also want to use this technology. So it was really awesome to see that. We did kind of go through her checklist, and she felt like she knew everything pretty well, except for the Adobe Express membership that I had like briefly mentioned to her in our second or third coaching session. So that was the only thing that she planned on like adding to her checklist or changing from her checklist. But I think ultimately I'm just going to make that a new goal, because there's so many tools in that Adobe Express, and I barely grazed the surface with her on that. So after filming that last coaching session, I actually sent her a follow-up email where I said, I think that we actually met our goal of having that increased technology integration, and rather than adding to that goal, let's set a new goal, because if we've set the goal, let's keep going forward. And she was so into it. She was excited. You could tell during our coaching session that she was excited, which kept making me feel really good about what we had done together. I actually also had my summative conference with my principal, and apparently Jen actually mentioned to our principal, who does both of our summative conferences because we're in the same content, that she mentioned me and our coaching in her summative conference. And so my principal was able to mention that to me, and how excited she was that that's something that we're bringing to the table now in 6th grade language arts, is this technology integration. So that was really cool to hear, because our campus as a whole, or our school as a whole, has been doing some blended learning, professional development. And so this is just adding on top of that as one more extra thing that we can do in our classrooms. So that was really cool to hear. But overall, she was super great. I think she's still a little bit too hard on herself when it comes to like nitpicking, but I think we're all pretty guilty of that. So I'm going to just continue to encourage her and make sure that she's not as nitpicky on herself, because she's an incredible teacher, and you can tell in the videos that her kids are engaged and what she's doing is working. Something that I kind of learned about myself is that I really enjoy coaching. I actually mentioned that in my summative conference with my principal, that is something that I think I've grown in this semester and this year as a whole, is being a leader and being a coach. And so that's something that I want to continue to do. And I'm going to take the next steps as kind of a recommendation from her, and something that I've realized that I'd like to do is to take on a student teacher as a mentor, or let me be a mentor to a student teacher next school year. So that's something that I'm going to be continuing to talk about with my administration and our instructional coach, to make sure that I'm prepared for that, because this whole process has been really fun for me, and I've really enjoyed being able to be on the other side of not just teaching the kids, but teaching my colleagues things that I'm doing in my classroom that I know are working and that are engaging, especially with the technology piece, because my school as a whole does have lots of veteran teachers who are kind of stuck in their ways of the old school manner. So it's been fun for me being able to build those relationships with them that can turn into these coaching relationships. I don't think I would have been able to coach Jen 2 years ago, because I didn't know her nearly as well. But I think last year and this year, especially right now, because of how close we are and the relationship I've built with her, the coaching seemed so easy and so fun and so seamless, that it didn't even feel like coaching. It felt like I was just telling a friend, hey, let's try this cool new thing, and I'm here to support you. So I think that something I'm going to continue to work on is just maintaining and building those relationships with my colleagues, so that coaching doesn't feel like coaching. It feels like we're just helping each other out, and that I'm just kind of a support system that they can have in the background when they want to try something new. I can kind of just be there for them. So I'm really excited with how all of this went, and I'm really proud of myself, and I'm really proud of Jen for trying something new, and I'm excited for her excitement as well. She's planning on doing something similar again for milestones review this week. So I'm kind of working with her, but not nearly as closely, to kind of integrate it again. But overall, I think this process was really, really cool, and I'm really excited and proud of how everything went. So hopefully I can continue on this instructional coaching path, and I might become one day, which is really exciting, because I think that would be a really cool thing that I would enjoy doing.